Hello, and welcome to the Invoicing webinar. Today we will show you how you can easily manage and analyze your invoices via the Invoice Insights application in MyProximus Enterprise. To access this application, first log into the portal using your username and password. We start here on the main page where a widget is provided with any outstanding invoice amounts. Here you can click directly to the company invoices or to the employee invoices. You can also navigate via the drop-down menu, where you click on Invoices and then Company Invoices. This gives you an overview of all the company's outstanding invoices. You will see a table with several columns here: the account number, the account balance, the overdue amount, the product type, mobile or fixed, and the purchase order number. Here you can start searching for an invoice account via an account number, a name, a reference, a purchase order number, or an alias. You can also filter by invoice account type, mobile or fixed, or by the status of your invoice account, active, inactive, or pending. When you click on an invoice account, you get the details of this invoice account: the date of the invoice, the document number, the document type, invoice, credit note or other, the total amount, the outstanding amount, and the due date. If this date is exceeded, this invoice will be marked as overdue. The invoice can be downloaded here by clicking on the link. If the delivery method is paper, this download will be a copy. It will also be so marked on the invoice. You do then have the option of requesting a duplicate if you wish. If the delivery method is digital, i.e. via email, PayPal, Basware, or Zoomit, you can download the legal invoice in PDF format here. Via the Paid Invoices button, you get an overview of all paid invoices of the last 24 months, with invoice date, document number, document type, and total amount. You can also download an invoice here. All these operations are also possible for employee invoices. To do this, click on Invoices Employees in the left-hand menu. Here you will see an overview of all invoice accounts, outstanding amounts, and any overdue amounts. Paid amounts will not be shown for GDPR reasons. Only when there are overdue invoices, the amounts will be displayed here. We can then click through on these documents to see the details. However, we can never download an invoice from employees. This is not allowed. From the Invoices menu at the top, you can also select Invoice Accounts. Here you can manage your invoice accounts from the company or employees. Here you get an overview of all invoice accounts for this customer. You will find the account numbers, product type, the invoice delivery method, the invoice address, and the purchase order entered, if any. In this list, you can start searching. You can go and look up the account number, or you can search by name, by customer reference, by purchase order number, or by alias. You can then type the data in the search field. In this example, the customer has only 8 accounts, so only one page is available. If the customer has multiple invoice accounts, you can adjust the number of items displayed per page here, or you can go directly to another page. A filter is provided where you can filter by invoice delivery method: paper, email, Zoomit, Certipost, Basware, or PayPal. You can also filter by product type, mobile or fixed, your invoice account status, active or pending, invoice language, or the invoice detail level of your choice. These settings can be customized. If you click on one of the accounts, you get an overview of all the details of this invoice account. Then you can change the invoice details by pressing the button below. Here you can assign a name to the invoice account. You can also assign a reference. And you can enter or change a purchase order number. These 3 fields will be visible on your invoice. This is your company's legal entity and can only be changed for the mobile invoice accounts. You can have your invoice sent to the attention of a person or a company. For mobile invoice accounts, only to the attention of a person is possible. You then simply fill in the details, click Save, and the data will be updated. You can also change the invoice address, and you can include an extra information field that will also be printed on the invoice. You can also have invoices sent to a PO box. The language of the invoice can be changed to Dutch, French, English, or German. The invoice detail is also customizable. Here we have set a restriction. If you choose paper as the invoice delivery method for your invoice, we automatically set minimum here in order to reduce the paper. If you choose a digital version, Zoomit, email, PayPal, or another, then you can start setting other levels of detail for your invoice. Under Alias, there are 2 more possible reference fields you can use. These are not printed on the invoice, you can just use them for your own reporting. You can also change the delivery method of your invoice. You then click on Modify Invoice Delivery Method. You will then be given the following options. You can have the invoice sent to an email address, with or without an SMS notification, as soon as a new invoice is available. You can also use Zoomit. In this example, paper was chosen, and you can still change the invoicing address via this button. And you can also choose Basware or PayPal as the delivery method of your invoice. Then you have the option of entering up to 2 additional email addresses to receive a copy of your invoices. For this, just click this activation button, enter 1 or 2 email addresses, and receive additional copies of your invoice. Then there is a final option to set the payment method. In this example, bank transfer has been activated. You can also opt for direct debit via this screen. You then enter your IBAN number. If necessary, you can enter an email address to receive confirmation of activation, and then save your choice. The next invoice will then be executed via direct debit. If you click on Manage Employee Invoice Settings, you can start performing the exact same operations for your employees' account numbers. In the Manage Invoices Company module, you can also perform all these operations for multiple invoice accounts at the same time. You can start making your adjustments there in bulk, such as changing the invoice details or the shipping method. When you click this button, you can download a template. This then generates an Excel file with all completed invoice accounts. You can then easily edit this file and afterwards save it as a CSV file. You then upload this file, click Save, and all the adjustments will be made. Under History of Modifications, you can consult the changes already made, both the report itself and the CSV file that was uploaded. Now we zoom in on the Invoices module. Via Invoice Analysis, you then click on the Invoice Insights application. In this application, you can analyze your mobile invoices and create reports that allow you to get a better insight into the costs of your mobile fleet. On the landing page, you will find several information tabs, including the Help section, which is present on every page and will guide you through the application via a step-by-step guide. At the top, you also have a drop-down menu where you can switch between clients if you have access to multiple clients. You will also find your login here, where you can log out again, and an option to change the application's language. On the landing page, you will first find the Invoice Overview, and depending on your subscription, more or fewer features will be available here. I will now zoom in on the landing page and the navigation through a mobile invoice. By default, the last invoice month is shown, in this case February, and you have the option here to change it to another month in your 24-month history. You also have other filters here that allow you to select document type and search functions for invoice number or account number. You will then find below the total cost for the selected customer and selected month, and an overview of how that trend behaves through the 24 months. If you then scroll further down, you will find there the various documents available for that month. Using the arrow at the back, you can click through to get more details of this document. At the top, you will find several additional reports applicable to this particular document. By default, Total Cost Distribution is selected, but you will also find other tab pages that you can click through to. In Total Cost Distribution, you have the option to apply several filters and a search function on the description found at the bottom for the different products on this document. For example, if I now go to select Usage Costs, at the bottom, you get a list of the different usage costs present on this document. For example, the international calls. Then you are shown an overview of which assets or which mobile phone numbers had this type of consumption on this document. Via the little arrow at the back, you can then go down one level and get to the details of this specific mobile phone number on that invoice. You can go down another level here, where you can show, for example, the national calls. Here you will see in detail all the different calls that have occurred for that invoice. You also have the option here to sort differently via the headers or to export this screen to Excel. Or you can also start exporting all usage costs for this selected mobile phone number to Excel. Then it's not just about, in this case, national calls, but all types of usage. As you can see, help is also present here to guide you through this screen and get more info in this report of what is available where. If I return to the invoice itself, to zoom in briefly on the other reports that are available, you will find, for example, Asset Overview. This report shows you the net cost for all the different mobile phone numbers present on this document, with, again, the option to go into more detail via the back arrow. You have the Extra Usage report here, and this will show you a number of different reports, depending on what is available on the invoice. You will also find the Top 10 reports. These are the users with the highest top 10 usage costs, according to a different type of usage or total costs, depending on the type of usage or costs that occurred that month. Again, you have the option to find more details here. Each of these screens is exportable to Excel, and you do so via the three dots at the back, where you can select Excel export, PDF export, or CSV export. Let me now zoom in on Split Billing. This module is only available in case you have a split billing product active. The last month of dates is loaded, but you can very easily switch between the different months available. This gives you an overview of the different sponsor customer numbers for your company. Once you click through, you will find the various employees who enjoy an intervention paid for by their employer. I'm going to click through on this invoice, for example. Using the arrows at the back, you will find more information about each of these assets, and you can continue to the details of this employee, but you will see that here all details are masked under the GDPR privacy law. At the asset level, you can find an additional report there that gives you an insight into how the invoicing is split between employer and employee. So this is actually the profile that, as defined by you, is going to split the invoice between the employee and the company. If we then move to the left menu, there are several other buttons available here. Note that this depends on your subscription. Asset Overview is a report that is going to allow you to find the net cost per employee for the selected company. The difference with the previous asset overview is that it was only for the selected document. Here, it is about the entire client account. You can again switch between the different months. There are also some other filters or search functions available, and you can click through further by using the arrows at the back here. You also have the option of exporting the report to Excel if you wish. Raw data export will allow you to get a CSV file for the selected period, for the selected dates. For example, if I select February, you can see here which customer numbers are contained in it. You can either select all of them or a subset. And then you can go and select whether you want to view the invoice details or the usage details. After you have generated a report, you can find it afterwards via the previously generated reports to download. A history of your reports always remains available here. On the same basis, you can start exporting the split billing data and possibly retrieve and download it here afterwards as well. Let us look at cost centers. This is a report that gives you an insight into the costs per cost center. Please note that these cost centers must have been created beforehand via the administration module, which you can find here at the bottom. I will come back to that later. Here you will find the last month with billing dates where you can switch between the different months. Via the plus sign at the front of the cost center, you can see what the hierarchy under a cost center is and also find more information about the assets in this cost center via the arrow at the back. Change Overview provides you with an overview of the changes that happened between the selected month and the month before or 2 months before. You can select December in the overview, for example, and then you have the option to compare them with October or November. You will then see which changes happened at asset level or which changes happened at product level. You have, via the numbers in bold, the possibility to click through, for example, on the changed assets. Via the arrows, you can then click through to find more information again. In the Reporting module, again depending on your subscription, 1 or more reports are available. I will take cost per asset as an example. Here you can use various filters or search functions to find the right asset and click on it for more information. You will see that certain reports show a table format, a bar graph, or a line graph. By default, several fields are pre-selected in each report. These are marked in purple with an asterisk. You have the option of adding extra information to them by clicking on the various fields in the left-hand menu. Unchecking them removes them again, bringing you back to the basic report setup. You can see that these are several fixed fields displayed in both columns and values. This report can be exported to Excel if you have that need. I am not going to go through all the reports with you as the concept is basically the same. You can select the month here based on several filters. By default, the selected customer present at the top here is also shown in the menu list every time. You can change this very easily. The month is again the last month with dates, and by default, all customer numbers are also selected if applicable for the selected report. Via Apply the Selection, the report is then built for you. If I then take another report, total costs, for example, you will also see here the option to apply some filters, the default fields selected, with the option to add additional fields as well, and export the report to Excel. In the same way, all the other reports you see here also work. In the Administration module, you have several different options available to you and selected depending on your chosen subscription. In the Subscriptions tab, you can find which subscription applies to you. In this case, this is Advanced. You have the option here to change your subscription if this should be necessary. Since we are already in the highest subscription now, there is no button available here. If this is not already the case, you do have the option to do so. As in the previous version, a free 2-month trial has also been added to try out the Advanced subscription. If this was not already activated, you will find a trial button here too. Customer Account Management gives you the date on which the last invoice for the respective account number was loaded. An export to Excel is also present here, and you can also start a targeted search via the search function. You also have a number of other modules to start managing your assets: Cost Center Management, Reference Management, and Asset Management. The Cost Center Management is going to allow you to add new cost centers. You will see that a number are already available here at the bottom, possibly with a hierarchy. Via Reference Management, you can also start creating references with a name, an ID, and an email address. The cost center, or the reference itself, can be linked to an asset via Asset Management. Here you can see, for example, an asset to which a reference is already linked and to which a cost center is also already linked. Here you may find further information and can also navigate to the reference or cost center. You will also find a history here. This way you can easily find out when which reference was linked to this asset. The reference upload allows you to link or remove cost centers and references to assets in bulk. This is done via a model file. When using the file, some fields are already filled in, which cannot be modified. These are marked in gray and are protected. However, there are some available fields at the back that you can fill in yourself. At the bottom, you have the option to upload the file you have edited, select a date from which these may take effect, and via the Upload References button, you can then upload them in bulk. Output Management is a module that allows you to either get a notification via email that informs you as soon as new files or new data are available to you, or set up a secure link via SFTP to automatically receive the files on your server. You will see that this needs to be configured per report type. As an example, I show you the notification here. You choose which user should receive this notification and for which invoices. By default, this is for all existing and future invoices, but you also have the option here to start selecting them specifically. You can also configure an SFTP connection in this module. Initially, you need to set up the connection yourself. It contains some default parameters of your company so that we can establish the connection to your server. Then you set up a user or subscriber who can receive this notification. The subscriber will then be notified as soon as the files arrive. Finally, I show you the Download Center, where you can start downloading PDF invoices in bulk. Please note, the maximum here is 10 different documents per download to respect the download limit. You will see that here you have the option to go and select the customer account and possibly refine the period before starting your download. Finally, I invite you to make use of the Help function in the status bar to help you get more familiar with the different modules of Invoice Insights. Need help with invoice management? Check the Self-Help section on the right side of the MyProximus Enterprise portal.
Proximus. Think possible.